G'day, welcome back to the show. Daryl Nicholson, Toowoomba Advocate with Tim Mcmahon. How are you, Tim? Welcome.
Great, thanks for having me.
Oh, mate, no worries. Mate, look, just the idea of this forum is to just get you to meet some of the candidates that are running for council. It's going to be quite interesting this year. Mate, I did put a post up the other day. I think I said 76 days, so it might be about 74 days till the election.
Something like that. It's closing in quick. Yeah,
getting closer. So, mate, tell us why you're running for council.
Well, great question. Look, I've got 3 kids, Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
Youngest one will be 2 months old. Oldest one's 4 years old.
Yep.
So I'm the business end of that, and you know I've got a great job and everything at the moment. Everyone's saying why throw that away? What kind of a city are we leaving for them? Like now is one question, but in the future is another totally different thing. What kind of city, what kind of region do we want them to grow up in? And Daryl, the Bureau of Statistics tells us there's 80,000 of us. This is parents raising kids who've chosen this region to do it. That's special. They've chosen here over anywhere else in the world. And who's looking out for those people? You know, the family people who are active in raising the kids and changing the nappies and looking after the parks and the changing of the city. That's the best thing for these kids. So, in a nutshell, that's my why I want to run for council.
No, that's good. I used to be at Urban Energy, and we used to advertise jobs around the state, and they could pick any location. And we just found people coming to Toowoomba, and we had to grow the depots. So it is a great place to live.
Oh, look, like so many of them, you know, I came here years ago now, but thought I'll give it a try and fell in love and stayed. And it's been a long time and I'm not going anywhere, so
Okay. Fresh ideas and fresh faces, exciting. It's going to be interesting to see who's running. So,
Oh, look, there's a lot of good candidates coming out, Daryl, and good on them. It's their right to do so. I'm not here to pick a fight with current representation, Daryl. No. There are some good people in there and some good people that should continue to lead the region, but I'm running my campaign with great ideas. I'm a fresh face, new to the area, and I think people are looking for the best new bright ideas. So I think I have a lot to manage in that, a lot to offer in that department. If I shave too much, it knocks 15 years off. So not too fresh faced, hopefully, but
no, that's good. And look, we're going to see some fresh faces running this year. So. Different to 4 years ago, so we'll watch this space.
Look, we used to be the big country town. I think we're the big city now, and there's a lot of new ideas, a lot of new people getting around, and I'm excited for where we're heading.
I think the future is brighter. Watch your video. You talk about families, the safety in the region, sporting and leisure. You're a big sport fanatic. Economic growth, which this region is growing very, very well. Fresh business ideas. It's great. Planned approach to tourism, which we know the Carnival Flowers. It's already in the Hall of Fame, mate. We've got Toowoomba covered.
Great initiative for that. And while I'd like to see it continue and grow and keep doing amazing things that it is, I think there's opportunity for other interesting events other parts of the year. So just some new incentives in tourism and get people to come in here. We've got great local produce, great cafe scene. You know, it's almost like a mini Melbourne, and the visitors up from Brisbane and the Gold Coast. I think we have a lot to offer in the tourism market.
Yeah, sure. Have you been out to the other regions yet? I see a lot of your stuff is focused on Toowoomba, which is great. But what about the other regions?
Oh, I was at Pittsworth at the start of their community kitchen just this week.
Oh, yeah.
Trips to Mcmahon planned, later in the week. Looking to go right up to Yarraman in the next few weeks. So yeah, it can't really be an election for just Toowoomba City. No. We've got to be in the regions, and a lot of really hard-working people facing a lot of issues out there, and really a good regional council could help them a lot. So I'm very careful that it's an election for the region, Darren, not an election for the city.
That's right, and that's where I was sort of coming from. I looked at some of your stuff there, and I thought, no, you've got the region mentioned in there as well, and I think that's going to be important because I think some of those communities get a bit isolated. It's always, the Good Shed in Toowoomba, for example, $10 million spent there. What other infrastructure has happened and what's planned for the future out in those areas? So that's going to be interesting.
Absolutely.
To see. Yeah. So, mate, teaching. You've been a teacher. So, will you go back to teaching if you don't get in?
Oh, look, big career. I don't know. Answer that. A lot of career moves up in the air. I think we'll see what the future holds. I've been a teacher for about 13 years now. I've seen a lot of change in that. I've had an amazing career, and it's the kind of job you could do happily until I retire. So, not really too worried about that. But I think the skills are, the skills you get from teaching, we're making every child feel important, looking after the ones that fall under the radar. People have to matter, and I think they're transferable skills to a position like this.
Right. Mate, in behind us, I'm spinning the Toowoomba 4350 TV and Stanthorpe 4380 TV. So I'm just going to take a shift and talk about something that happened recently. Mayor Paul Antonio wasn't invited to a meeting that Anastasia Palaszczuk and Tracy Dobley had about connecting Toowoomba to the Warwick Dam out there. So what are your thoughts on sharing water with them? They're doing a study, but what are your thoughts on sharing water with
I understand there was a lot of conflict over that, and while our water is relatively secure for the next 20 odd years, that's no good if our neighbours out west have got no water, and there are towns already in our region that are trucking the water in, Clifton, Pittsworth, those places.
Yes, that happened in Stanthorpe. I was out there.
And sharing is a great thing, and we need to be sharing the assets around. I think dams is an interesting thing, pipelines, who gets what, but I'd love to have, Daryl, a grown-up adult conversation about the recycled water thing. I think there's a lot of technology, a lot of new faces, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes there. A lot of other cities who are less water insecure than us are adopting ideas like that. And the gag factor is an adequate stakeholder against it, and I get that. But out my way, we've got this pristine tank water that they're tipping on their lawns, and I would have no problems getting behind some sort of solution where we're watering our plants with the recycled water and drinking the pristine. So. Water security is probably the biggest issue that everyone in the region's talking about, and we're in the middle of a terrible, unprecedented drought. And while I have the faith that it will break, Darryl, we've got to look to the future with things like water security and look at some options there. And I don't want to get fighting amongst who said what, but let's have a grown-up conversation about how we can best share the resources, how we can best look after the ones we've got. And if recycled water, I read an article in London, if you have a glass of water, chances are it's been through 6 or 8 sets of kidneys already. That's the big cities of the world, and let's have a look at that technology. Something to bring to the table in that regard.
Agree, and I'm sure it's going to be back on the table. Hey, what are you hearing from people out there? What are they saying?
Look, I'm meeting people every day who have a diverse range of needs, and it's great because there's so many needs for the region. But the big ones are we've got to look after our water, we've got to look after our green spaces, and we've got to think smart when it comes to new building developments. And I know we're a growing region and we need houses, but I don't want to necessarily see us bulldoze every green space and every tree to put a housing estate up. And I think land size isn't the only factor. And I'm pro-development, Darryl, don't get me wrong, but I think we need to look at ecologically sustainable development, meaning look at the environment, look at the surrounding ecology, and only if the development doesn't damage that do we go forward. So I think there's a lot of factors with development. Ecology and sustainability has to be foremost in those applications.
Okay, you've done your course, so you want to be a councillor. Everyone has to do that from the mayor down. Quite interesting. I really think there's going to be an eye from the watchdog on councillors and their assets, their disclosures, their money, that sort of thing. So any fear?
Look, I'm a fairly simple guy with one house and 2 cars, and I don't have any investment properties anymore. I think fair enough. The local government association has a right to be concerned. There's been a lot of dodgy stuff going down.
Definitely.
Local government throughout Australia, and I've done the course. I've declared my assets, the designated bank account, Darryl. It's a bit of paperwork, but not too much to worry about there.
Good. Okay. Right, mate, this is your chance. Give you a minute and a half. Just wrap up why people should look for you for council.
I'm Tim Mcmahon. I'm a high school teacher. I have been a small business owner up until recently. I have 3 kids, a dog, and I'm raising them in this beautiful region. I know there are so many of us doing the same thing. I'd love your vote. My hashtag is the future is bright because I look at the future of this region and it excites me. So get on board. Momentum's good. You'll find me on every social media. Love to have your votes. March 28th.
I saw you got your Facebook page. Have you got Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram's going crazy. I'm getting followers everywhere. LinkedIn, it's all there. So get on board. Yeah.
And you got your own webpage or
coming? They take a while, but coming.
Yeah, good. Mate, okay. Look, thanks for your time today. There you go. Just some more information about
what's happening.
What's happening in the region. And it's getting close now, March 28th. So again, not sure of polling, whether it's going to be polling booths or postal votes.
Soon, but
watch this space. So. Okay, mate. Thanks for coming on the show. Toowoomba 4350 TV and also Stanthorpe 4380 TV. They're more than just postcodes, Tim. They're all about community.
Lovely spots. Check them out if you haven't already. Thanks, Darryl.
No, thank you. Cheers.